had somebody ask me, do I prefer abstraction over realistic work? That's a tough one because I like to try to render something to, it's a good challenge. And I used to do more representational work, but I've always enjoyed that the paints themselves complement or take away from subject. So the application of the paint became something that I've been more interested in, and yet to be based on emotion. I want it to be based on the emotion that I experience. That's when I'm outdoors, because it's freeing. So I feel abstracts allow you to be free in your work. Is that similar? Okay, no, see, that's not cat orange. That's why this is. Yeah, that's cat orange. So that works better. Now it's too strong. But what I'm trying to say is that there's blending into that. Maybe I'll come into here. That shape was a bit on its own. Blend into this. And so I'm squinting, seeing where as I travel across where that's happening. I don't want this to be too strong of a line. So that little brush, that works well. It carries over the same color. Well, the rules are there for a reason to understand painting, like what works, what doesn't. But I don't want to make cookie cutter painting, that's what I call them. I'm not knocking any particular way of working, just for myself. I'm talking about myself because I like to follow rules. I don't like to do anything wrong, and I'm like, okay, yeah, what are the rules? I'll follow them. But it ended up, I'm not freeing myself to explore. And this is only paint, right? It's not like, I'm not going to be a portrait artist. That's strong.
So do you ever do an abstract and then you look at it and you think it looks like something and you decide to make it into?
Yeah, not so much. I try to take away the subject if I see it. Yeah, because I'm trying to really work into abstracts. That can work really well, like if you can render from an abstract starting point, because it can add to the piece, right? It's kind of a contemporary. But I'm trying to get more abstract. It's really a challenge. I don't know why I just keep, being called to explore that. Maybe because it's endless trying to understand it, and I like that part of it. It's intriguing to me.
7.5 minutes.
Thanks. Okay. So this is where
I have 6.5.
Oh, you do?
it's almost like I shouldn't touch it anymore,
7
because
minutes.
any large or any addition, like even this might be too repetitive. Like I might say, from up close, it might look sort of transparent and like a big shape that maybe I need to add something to another layer. But then I have layers here, then I have layers here. So I have to be careful now what each brush stroke I add will cause the others to converse with it. And so then this one says something, and then I'll have to go over here, and it gets overdone. So where do you stop? 10% unfinished, over 1% over. What's that 1%? One brush, right? So if there's nothing too distracting, okay, there's rules like don't go through the corner, things like that. I don't have that happening. Where's the focal point? I don't worry about it. Suzanne never did. Because if I start working, I better render this more. It is actually, this became the focal points. A lot more saturated color, it's value, no tan, everything. So it has worked out, I think, to have a focal point strength. But, and another way, so as this is the focal point, I love this color. I can even pick it up and just put some detail right by so just a little, I think that little subtle, it repeats this here.
Now, compared to the edges, the middle is very empty.
Yes. So that's the question. That's what I was seeing as well. I'm wondering, do I add? This is where the 10% unfinished may be the rule to go by, if you want. Because the minute I add to that, it's going to, it'll bring these together. I could transition very gently, some more like little things like that, right? If you want to connect them. Very subtle. And I like this blue, so I'm just kind of bringing it across. So, yeah, no. So sometimes that's a big shape of its own muted color, so I didn't add that there. I wanted to because it's like, oh, let's just keep going with this lovely, nice, beautiful color. I love this sky blue. But yeah, be careful. I'm just squinting kind of out. I haven't had a chance to look back, but maybe some of that little rendering around, like, could be. Yeah. So hopefully it feels like a winter scene, and that's my take on winter.
I love the
Thank
softness
you.
of that side.
And I always say I thank you for the state because I was able to do something I love. I'm back out here ready to paint outdoors in the late fall as the salmon are coming up the creek and doing their last little effort here in their life cycle. And in the life cycle of a painting, there's a lot that goes on before we start painting and being inspired, taking a walk through the areas that we enjoy, and hopefully